So this is the XMCOSY 2-pack wall light. It's got a lot of different features. You can see here that you can actually put on dusk to dawn schedules, 16 watts. It's got 1100 lumens. You can also voice activate it. You've got scene modes. You can also do music and rhythm control. So we're gonna walk through an unboxing, talk to you about what's in the box, an install. It also connects, I forgot, with Amazon Alexa. So we'll walk through of all of that, show you the colors, and we'll jump into the app as well and show you how to do some of those things in the app and troubleshooting and all those kind of things. So let's jump into it right now. So jumping in the box, you can see here 16 million colors. Your brightness is 1 to 0%, 100%. 16 watts is your bulb, 1100 lumens. So let's jump in. So pretty straightforward on your lights. These are going to be your brackets, your wall mounts. So we're going to pull everything out first and then go through. Kind of get rid of the trash and just set everything over here. Your two L brackets here. And then you've got two lights here. We've got this bubbled glass, as you can see here. Be very careful with those. Just those two like that. You've got your screws, everything here, right? Your app where you can download. Again, you can use this on, get close up, you can use this on Android or Apple. It's the XMCOSY Plus or XMCOSY app right there. If you need service or anything like that, you can email here. And kind of walks you through different things with the app, which I'm going to show you. We'll do a screen report of the app itself. Then you have a quick start guide on how to install everything, and then walking through the app as well. So all of this is included in the box. So before we get started with the install, there's a couple things that I think you should be aware of when it comes to these lights. And so you'll want to make sure that the power is off, obviously, before you disconnect the old light. You want to make sure that you have your ground wire and your black and your white wires to connect to everything. I think you would want to have a screwdriver, a level. I would use an X-Acto knife as well, I think, and I'll show you why in just a second. And before we jump in, I just wanted to show you on the bottom of both of the lights, you can see right there, there's a button that is right here. This is what's going to allow you to sync to the Bluetooth and basically connect with music or the Alexa or your phone or the app or whatever. Both lights have one of these. We're actually only going to install one until we know where we want to put them permanently, but I'll walk you through all of that. So you can see here that we do have the ground wire, the black and the green. The other thing that I've already noticed about it, I'm going to flip this around just to show you, is what I would recommend is actually stripping these a little bit longer. So maybe give yourself about an inch instead of just, kind of a quarter of an inch here. Most likely what's going to be happening is you're going to be having the braided wire, and the ones coming out of your house are going to be solid wire. And so you're going to need to wrap these around before you put on those wire caps, which come here, right? Obviously these yellow wire caps. So I'm assuming that the holes are already going to be drilled and everything when I take off the old one. The reason we would want to use an X-Acto knife here is when I show you, get up to the old light, is we're going to have sealant, as you can see right here around, that's been painted or it's clear, is we want to use an X-Acto knife to cut all of this off. You can see that we have different colors. So we have a white kind of on a beige stucco here. So as we focus, so you're going to want an X-Acto knife to clear out all of this old stuff. So what I'm going to do first, I'm actually just going to take off all of the grout that's around it, right? Or the weather caulk, and pull that around. And then what I also really like to do is I like to find all of the sizes that I'm going to need for my ratchet or my wrench or whatever. I think these are probably actually just twisted here tight. I don't know if I'm actually going to need a wrench or not. Now, these are just hand tightened. I also really like to save all the old parts, right? Again, I don't know if we're going to do this long term for both of these, but I do like to save everything. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this razor blade and just kind of go around the edge and cut it all. That way it doesn't tear off any of the stucco. And some areas are thinner than others, so it's a little bit of a process. And I'll end up putting this back on afterwards because you don't want water getting down underneath here. I'm trying to be really careful so I don't scratch any of the stucco. It's not very thick, and it shouldn't be too hard to kind of just pull off once you're done, but we're going to pause it here. I'm actually going to pull off the light so you can see what it looks like when everything pops out. So I just popped that up, and I'm going to give you kind of a close view so you can see. You already actually have a mounting bracket there. So you can see all of the caulk and everything. The cables are all tied off. You can see that I do have a white, a black, and there's my ground wire right there, which is the one that doesn't have any coloring on it. And those, like I thought before, are the hard wire, right? So they're not braided. And I'm going to zoom in again right here so you can see. So what I'm actually going to do is I may snip those wires, but they're already kind of bound there. So we're going to untwist all of these wires right here. We're going to take off the mounting bracket, and then mounting brackets generally have the same sizing for those screws. So those two big screws that are sticking out, let me just show you. These two big screws right here are ones that are already in there, and so we're just going to pull this off, and the new mounting bracket may fix right on here. I may end up scraping some of this off. There's a lot of glue on here. Again, long term, we don't know if we're going to put the new light here long term or if we're going to keep this one. This is a solo light out here. It doesn't have a partner light on the other side of the door, which is kind of frustrating. And then in the front of our house, there's 3 of them. So anyway, so you can see here's the ground wire here where it's connected right here. So we'll pull all of this out, and you can kind of watch as I do that. So for the Moxie lights, you can see that they have this base that's already in here, and there's little just tiny screws, if I can get the light right here. So you can actually unscrew these, and then you're just working with this base right here, this flexible base that you can put in the wall and then adjust this afterwards. So it's nice because you can level it after the fact, or get it all level before you put all the wires in. So all the wires are going to go straight through here, right? They'll pop out here on this side, and then you've got this basically L piece right here that slides on like this. The wires are going to go up through here, and then the light's going to sit right on top of here. So this will mount into your wall just like this, and then the wires are going to be running again through here all the way through this L up to the light, and then you should be good to go once you get all connected. So we're going to give a close-up of all that. I just wanted to explain that before I do. The bracket, the new one that we have with the new light, has the ability to turn and twist. So I can screw these in and then kind of lock it in place where I want. I'm actually going to cut through some of the silicone just to give me some more space for this round bracket to show you what this looks like. All right, so we are flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the new screws that came in the light pack. And the reason why is those other ones were really long. And so I'm just going to get these started just to hold it here. And I'm actually flush with the housing box. And so we talked about the way that these are built are really nice because you can actually rotate these any way that you want to make sure that you have your light once you get it connected so that it is level. And again, I'm not going to screw these on super tight because we're going to eventually be shoving all of these back in the housing box once we get everything connected. So I mentioned this earlier, but now that we've got, so here's our light, and again, here's our black, white, and ground wire, is I am going to strip these and give me a little bit more room to work with on the end of these. So I just have these wire strippers. You basically just grab them and strip the wire off. Sorry. Okay. So it took just a second, but you can see now that the wires are stripped. I have about an inch of braided wire to work with. And so as I connect this to the wires coming from the house, I have a little bit more room to work with before we put back on our wire caps. Okay. So again, this is going to connect onto this. So the wires are going to go through here all the way up into the light, and then we're going to connect up to the wall. This is the piece that we're actually going to screw into the bracket, the round bracket. So I want to make sure that I get it tight, but not too tight before I level it and get everything straightened out. So I'm going to turn this back up there so you can see me kind of install and go from. Okay. So you can see that we have the mounting circle on, and I want to make sure that it's level. And you can see here that it's not level. So I actually need to pull this left side. And again, I have not screwed in the screws super tight because I want to make sure that I get this mounting bracket. So now that I'm level, what I am going to do is this screw and this screw right here, I'm actually going to go super tight on because that circle frame on the outside is going to be screwed in from here and here. Oops, let me just go back this way. So from here and here. So I want to make sure this is as level as possible, and we're about right there. So again, we leveled this out. We're tightening everything here. And I don't know if you can see it from that view, but we are right in the center. So we are good on the leveling. So again, we're shoving the 3 wires all the way through the mount. And the mount's going to line up perfectly here. So you can see we've got the mount on now, our 3 wires coming out. I want to make sure that it's flush here. And then again, what we're going to do, we're going to go white to white, black to black, green to ground, GR, right? And then we've got our caps that are here that we can just place, and I just dropped one. So when I always go clockwise, both when you're twisting the wires on, so I'll wrap this around clockwise because I want to make sure that the connection is good and that I don't have any problems later on. And when you're doing this, again, you're going from a threaded wire to a solid wire. You'll want to make sure that you're threading your threaded wire is at least an inch long to make sure you get that connection. Hopefully this is strong enough just to hang here for a second. Which it is, because I dropped our green wire topper. So again, here's our ground wire, and I'm wrapping this around clockwise all the way to the top. Now, one of the tips that I recommend is that when you are shoving these back in, is that you shove these with this part facing up, just in case rain or anything. You don't want rain or anything to get in there, right? And so it's going to be a little bit difficult because you've got a bunch of wire. Even if you leave it in this casing, you want to have them going up, right? Which I'm going to do because it gives me a little bit more room. Okay, nice. So we are on. Obviously, we have it set to rave mode. Everything's working, so we'll get it connected with Bluetooth, and I will show you all of that in the app, and we will go from there. So now we're up to the light, and we're getting a screen recording. So right here underneath the light is the Bluetooth connectivity button. So I'm actually going to take it off the camera and go to the app and show you what that looks like. Okay, when you get to your home base in the XMCOSY Plus app, you'll see that you can add multiple lights. I've added the smart wall light, which is right up here. You can see that. So as I walk through the app itself, I'm just going to have the light there so you can see kind of what we're looking at. So if we wanted to add another device, we could add a device. We could also create a scene. Right, we could have to run a schedule. When the weather changes, we can schedule that this turns on every morning at 7 a.m. We can change this scene, whatever we want. There's some preset scenes as we jump into. So down here, when I click on the smart light itself, so you can see here, I now have control. And as I spin the color wheel, you can see that the light changes from, purple, red, blue, pink, whatever. I can also change here the brightness down to 1% all the way to full 100%. You'll notice that I'm on the color side. When I click on white, it will just go to the white side, and then I can actually change that so the white changes. So I can get kind of like a candle light, I can get a daylight, I can get a blue light here. So going back to when I click on the light bulb here, I can click on the colors itself, and it has some custom themes already created. So I can do the grassland, and as soon as I do that, you'll see that it kind of changes to this light green, and it's actually going through the motions of these. I can do colorful, and this will change colors and kind of go back and forth to different things. Again, I could go to dynamic, and I'm just kind of picking random ones and changing the colors here. We could go to sunrise. This will kind of give you a sunrise theme here, and we're about dusk where we're at now. I just clicked on the ocean one, so you can do different modes here. When you click on the 4 squares in the bottom right hand corner, you can actually create a plan. And when you can do a sleep plan, you can pick a day or a time when you want the light to turn on or off, or when you want it to start. You can see here that I can fade it out at different times. This is sleep mode. When I go to, I can also add a wake up plan, which will give me different times of the day when that will change. So I'm going through the app. Again, the other options that you have is you can create a schedule for the whole week. I can add an entire schedule. I can have notifications. I can turn this on if I'm going out of town. Super easy to use. Again, when I click on the bottom, I can do power on behavior. I can do an initial mode. I can do a do not disturb. Right, so not only can I control this light with the switches that are controlled in the house, I can also control it with the app on the phone. So the last thing that I want to show you is the timer. Again, you can have the timer on. So this is out on our patio. Let's say I want to turn it on for 1 minute, confirm. And what this will do is this will turn the light off in 1 minute. So as we go back to, again, our home page here, we have a profile. We can create a scene. This is something where we're creating the colors, changing that when I click on the little robot up here. It'll see the profile photo. I can change the nickname of this device if I have multiple devices in the house. And then I can also do time zone change, and it automatically detected that from my phone. So I'm gonna go back. All in all, with the XMCOSY Plus, is the install was really quick. You want to just make sure that you have all the right tools before you jump in, you start installing and putting it together. I think as far as the brackets and different things like this circular bracket is really easy. If you're removing an old light, it's probably gonna have the cross bracket, which you saw in the video. As far as the settings and the capabilities and the flexibility of the light itself, you can customize all the things that you want. You can create scenes, you can create programs, you can create timers, you can create different things. This is a 2-pack light. Again, I think we told you at the beginning of the recording is that we're only gonna install one here, just because this is a single light out here. We're gonna let it sit for a couple weeks, play around with it, see how we like it. We do have string lights that we have here as well that we might get connected to the app and go from there as well. Some of the plus things that I really like about it is you can see the bubbled glass when we did the close-up. So it's got that kind of bubbled glass look. Is you have thousands of different light colors that you can put in. You have hundreds of scenes. You can create your own scenes, but you can also control it from your phone. So you can turn the light on and off. So if you're upstairs in your bedroom getting ready for bed, you can actually turn this off. So again, going back to the install, super kind of basic. An install, it did take me a little bit longer because I wasn't familiar with all the cables that were in there that were left. But also I was trying to record and stop and cut. So the install should probably take you 15-20 minutes. If you count letting the caulk dry after you finished it and got that back up, which we haven't. You can see that we need a caulk around the outside before winter comes, but maybe 20 minutes tops with everything. Final thoughts on the XMCOSY 2-pack smart wall lights is super easy to install. Pretty sturdy as far as make, model, and then a ton of different options when you get connected to the app. There was multiple ways to connect to the app, as we showed you. You could do Bluetooth, you could do through your Wi-Fi, or the Smart Connect, depending on which kind of service or phone that you have. It does work with Android and Apple. 5 out of 5 stars.